Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 11 of Fierce Faith, Embodied Grace. I'm Kate Shipp. I'm a yoga therapist specializing in trauma recovery and mental health. And today we are going to discuss the essence of rest. So if you join me, if you're here, let me know that you're here. Make a comment, say hello. I'm streaming via StreamYard. So if you're registered with StreamYard, I will be able to see that it's your name. If for some reason you're not registered with StreamYard yet, it will come up as Facebook user. So say hello, let me know that you're here. I'm going to give a couple moments for people to jump on. This topic today comes from a few weeks of experience in this essence of needing to rest, and then some work that I've been facilitating with a lot of clients over the past decade is making this internal shift between thinking and doing and feeling and being. And so understanding that our nature is a state of being, and we've nurtured ourselves through our culture, through our society, through our modeling from generations past to be a tendency of doing. So making this really critical shift inside that says the essence of rest is a state of being. And that doesn't mean we're not engaging with life. It means the energy that we're engaging with life from is not from a frantic busyness, overwhelm, anxiety. It's from a state of gentleness, of self-compassion, of deep understanding of our needs, and this essence of being that says, as I am enough. So we're going to talk some about that today. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Dawn. Let me know you guys are here if you're jumping on with me. Permission to rest. You have permission to rest. And for some, just the thought of those words creates like this, what? What is rest? And why do I need permission for it? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Because in our world, it is rebellious to say, I'm choosing to rest. I'm choosing to take care of me. I'm choosing to not buy in to the culture of overdoing. And I was an expert at this, and it's still one of my greatest edges. By my nurtured self, I am an overdoer. I love being busy. I actually thrive sometimes in a state of being busy. I enjoy having a lot of things on my plate. Sometimes the tendency is not to create enough space for rest, for a state of being in those periods where life gets really busy. So seasons of life offer different periods of rest. Those of you who know me know I have a teenage son and a preteen daughter. And so it's a season of life that is extremely busy. And that means being even more intentional with taking time to rest. So the busier we are, the more rest we need. And for some, that balance, the balancing act of both can feel like an inner conflict. It can almost feel like a battle inside between I have to get this done, but I need to rest. And so how do we navigate that? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Crystal's naming something in the comments like that. It can bring up a lot of guilt, especially I find for women, and I know men struggle with this as well, but if you're a woman and you choose to be a mother, there's also that putting your needs before or after the needs of your child can create all sorts of kind of guilt. I feel guilty for resting. I feel guilty if I don't take care of myself. So sometimes it feels like we're caught in between these blocks of guilt. So we're going to talk about that. But let me know you guys are here if you're jumping on. Hi, Lizzie K. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for joining me. Permission to rest. So as you come in, let me know that you're here. Say hi. If you're watching back on replay, let me know you're here on the replay. It's always fun to see who's watching back, who's with me. I know some of you choose not to engage, and I love that you're here receiving as well. So if your comfort level is just to listen and receive, honor that. If you're someone who's comfortable commenting and engaging, I enjoy that. It also helps to keep energy flowing and going throughout these times together. So the first piece of it is this essence of rest as a state of being. meaning rest was never meant to be a luxury. If you look back at history, there was always periods of rest, that cultures had times where they followed the rhythms of the season. There was time for slowing down. There was time for gathering. There was time for connection. There was time for being in harmony with yourself, with your God of your choice, with nature. And then as times have changed, there was also this shift into the more we do, the better we are. And that's where a lot of disease comes. So we can name and know that the medical community says the number one cause of disease is stress. Well, what is stress? We can define stress as resistance to what is. And anytime we're in a state of resistance to what is, our body's going to have a stress response, meaning your nervous system is going to go into either a fight or flight or a faint or freeze response that says something's out of balance inside. And our tendency is to push through instead of pause. So this essence of rest as a state of your being is saying, let me get back to the source that lives within me, that allows me to be, and then I will engage in any way. So the pausing is a place to be able to then reflect and say, how am I showing up in this? And am I allowing for a place to rest? And to rest into is within that source within yourself. So I'm not talking about taking a 2-hour nap on the couch. That is one way of rest. The rest I'm discussing has to do with these few minutes that we have available for us instead of always being in active engagement, to just go outside, to sit down, to stand in the grass, to let the sun or the rain or whatever it means be on your skin, and to just essence of being, to drop in to the essence of who you are, beyond the labels, beyond the roles that you play, beyond the various masks or hats that we wear every day, and to reconnect to the source of who you are and the essence of your being, your human being that engages with life often as a human doing. So rest is the pause between your inhales and exhales. The best, beautiful place of rest is the pause at the bottom of the exhale. Where in the yogic teachings, that's where we are dipping into the well of source, right? For me, the well of God. At the bottom, I exhale when there's a pause, a momentary pause that says, right now, in this moment, I'm okay. And that rest, as we practice it, becomes a way of training ourselves. So as we train ourselves for rest, we're reconnecting to the state of being that we are. Oftentimes, we need longer periods of rest to teach us how to do that. I have found in the work that I do, people will get sick or there'll be some sort of internal imbalance that causes them to have to rest. And then they fight that because I'm guessing most of the time there were little things along the way that were giving signs and messages that it was time to slow down. It was time to clear the calendar a little bit. It was time to say no to some social engagements. It was time to turn the TV off. It was time to turn the phone off. And your beingness was speaking. But because our tendency is to shut off our being, then in order to get our attention, these symptoms have to amplify. And so oftentimes that will result in an illness. You need to rest. So if we can start practicing rest, we don't have to wait till something goes wrong to treat ourselves right. We don't have to wait till we have a cold or something worse to take care of ourselves. We don't have to wait until we're on a vacation for a week to then take the time to tend to our needs. So one of the goals in learning how to rest is to start taking care of yourself without needing a reason to, other than you are a human who deserves to feel the best that you can. And the activities of doing often don't relay to the state of being that we are. Once someone has practiced being, they're able to engage with the day-to-day activities in a new way. So instead of engaging with cooking a meal from this rushed, I have to make a meal for my family, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, which is fairly overwhelming and frantic energy, often anxious for many people, they can drop into themselves. They can be present to making this meal, and they can show up from the source of love that they are, so that they're enjoying what they're doing instead of wishing for the doing to be over so they can sit on the couch at the end of the day and put on Netflix, or so that they can go lay in bed and maybe get a little bit of extra sleep. So my invitation through this offering today is, where is there space for rest in your life? Where is there space for you to take care of yourself now so you aren't forced to rest later? So I'm going to see if anyone else has jumped on. Let me know if you guys are joining me. I've seen people kind of come and go, which is completely normal. I'm just curious on if you're here and what is your experience with learning how to rest, with making that internal shift that says, I'm allowed to feel good. I'm allowed to do the things that I need to do to be the best version of me that I can. Hi, Brianna. Thanks for letting me know you're here. How am I showing up each day? Am I showing up present and available and grounded and centered? Or am I showing up with anxiety, with a state of I can never get enough done, with a state of I have to go here and I have to go here and I have to do this and I have to do that and they need me and where's me in all of that? Okay. And the other side of that is, are you showing up feeling really depressed? Depression is often, yes, it's a mental health consideration and concern, absolutely. But on a spiritual level, depression is also not listening to your soul. That your soul, the spirit of your soul, the voice of your soul inside has been giving you messages that something needs to change. But there's often this fear of making those changes that align with your soul's level of living because of maybe what other people might say. Maybe it goes against the grain of what your family life has always been. And so instead of listening to the soul, there's now a depression, which also sometimes stands for deep rest needed, right? To recover from life. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's not how we were meant to live. Right? We were not meant to live needing to recover from our day-to-day living. Right? That in and of itself is the perfect environment for dis-ease, for illness, for imbalances to come. So choosing to make this paradigm shift inside that says, I'm going to honor the being that I am by allowing myself space to rest throughout my day. That may look like 10 conscious breaths. That may look like being all in doing the dishes and allowing the experience of doing the dishes to be one of actual being and rest and not this frantic chore that has to be done. It has to do with being intentional when you're spending time with those that you love. And 10 minutes of intentional time is more restful and soul fulfilling than 2 hours of anxiety-driven play. So noticing for yourself, how can you create space in your day for rest? Hi, Chrissy. I see your name on here. Thanks for being here. Dawn saying, I schedule rest breaks. Yes, we're going to talk about that. That's one of the tools that I love using, a timer on your phone to do so. So since you brought that up, I will bring that in. A practice that I offer is set 5 to 6 different alarms on your phone 2 to 3 hours in between in your day, and allow the alarm to be labeled what you need. So the alarm at 9 a.m. may say, Kate, take 10 deep breaths. Right? Maybe the alarm at 2 p.m. is, Kate, go outside for 5 minutes. Right? The alarm at 5 p.m. may be, Kate, take 10 more deep breaths. The alarm at 9 p.m. may say, Kate, it's time to unwind, turn off technology, and allow yourself to start to slow down. So you label the alarms with the intention behind what you're going to do. So it's now giving you information. Oh yeah, it's a reminder. I've been going all morning and I haven't even taken time to check in with myself. I haven't taken time to notice, what do I need? Am I thirsty? Have I had anything other than coffee to drink today? Have I taken time to just be with my breath? Have I taken a moment to be in prayer? So these momentary states of rest aren't about an hour on the couch of falling asleep. That could be, right? Sometimes for me, it's 30 minutes of yoga nidra once a day. Sometimes, like yesterday, was 2 yoga nidras because I needed to recover a little bit more from some things that had occurred. So it can also be driving without any sound on. No podcast, no music, no phone on Bluetooth. It's just the essence of you fully focused on driving can be a place for rest, where you're present with where you are and what you are doing from the wholeness that you are. And it's such a sacred space that when you learn how to tap into this well that lives within you, you want more of it. It becomes this like nourishment that we need to allow ourselves to have more. In yoga, there's a term called ojas, O-J-A-S, and it's this nectar of the heart. It's like this liquid gold nourishment that lives in the deepest layers of the heart. And when we drop into that place, we're being filled full with that gold. So I believe it's the Holy Spirit's energy. It's this awareness of when we rest into that essence, we feel whole. We feel like we can conquer the world because we have come from a place of being instead of this mental to-do list of everything that has to get done. Okay. So someone, Facebook user, I'm not sure who that is, says, from breathing, I feel open to all that comes my way. I love that. What a sweet intention that when we breathe and when we're in that essence of our being, we are open to what comes our way, to all that comes our way, which also is the statement that says, I'm letting go of what needs to go and I'm letting stay what needs to stay. And the wholeness that I am doesn't have a preference about what that is. My ego may have a preference. I certainly don't like when things don't go well. But my wholeness says I'm perfectly allowing for all of that to be because I know how to take care of myself in those moments. And Christy's saying, no Apple Watch. Yeah. So if you're doing a meditation, let's say, and you have your like Apple Watch or whatever you're wearing in that way, and it's set to connect to your phone, to vibrate, to go off with text messages or alerts from social media or such like that, or emails, take it off. Put it in another room so that you're not distracted all the time by these constant, what I call additional appendages that are always at our side, right? Our phones, our Apple Watches, our AirPods, all of the things. It's like, when are you finally going to disconnect to reconnect? To reconnect with this essence that you are. Oh, Lisa, that was you. Hi, Lisa. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that it was you. So if you've joined me, you guys, let me know you're here. We're going to talk about what withholds people from being able to rest. So in conversations that I've had with other colleagues of mine and those that are of different backgrounds, there is this essence of deep rest has to do with a level of certain privileges that we have based on our heritage, based on our race, based on our upbringing, based on our security. And I look at all of that as the word safety, meaning based upon the level of safety that we experience in our day-to-day life is directly related to our ability to rest. And this was really brought to my attention by a friend of mine who is also in the same kind of work that I do, who happens to be a different ethnicity. And we were talking about rest as a privilege. And I know that these are things that are talked about a lot right now, but hear me out on this. If someone is not able to feel safe in their environment, to feel that they are going to be okay no matter what occurs, their capacity for rest is limited. And then there are those who may not have ever experienced some of the suffering that others have, and their capacity to rest is going to be greater. So in the work that I do, there is this very deep connection between safety and our ability to rest into ourselves, the ability to rest into our body. If someone has a lot of trauma, their body may not feel safe. And so therefore, the act of rest is very uncomfortable, meaning to just lay down on the couch, to slow down, and to get quiet with themselves may feel horrifying. And I want to honor that because I'm not saying rest is easy. If anything, rest may be one of the most difficult things we do. And that's why I said it's a rebellious act to learn how to practice rest, to return to the state of being that you are, because it goes against what we've been trained to do. And so when then they add in a trauma layer that says, I don't even know if I can rest, because when I rest, I don't feel well. I don't feel right. I don't feel protected. I don't feel safe. And we want to honor that. We want to honor that there is a part that shows up that says, if I rest, then what? And that then what for a lot of people turns into, will I be provided for? Will I be safe? Will I be loved? Am I still lovable if I rest? Is my worthiness going to go down as my rest goes up? And here's the thing. Those are all what I will call lies that have been taught and told over generations of time. That your worthiness is based on what you do, not who you are. And those are things that need to be unwound with good therapeutic support to help you find the opening within yourself to be able to rest deeply. And honoring that as our safety increases, and I'm talking about safety as our environment around us and our environment within us. That as our safety increases, our capacity for good rest increases as well. Here's how I've seen this show up. When I was teaching a lot of yoga classes and a lot of yoga Nidra classes in person over the years, it would show up as a room of 25 people, everyone intentionally showing up there for deep rest, right? Yoga Nidra is a practice of deep rest. And always there would be people in the class that couldn't find rest. And they would come up to me after and we would have conversations about why is it that when they're at home in their own private space, they can find that essence of being in Yoga Nidra and they can't find it in a class environment. Here's why. We are energetic beings interacting with our energy all day long. And when you go into a classroom setting where there's 25 other people that you may or may not know, that you may or may not have had prior interaction with, your nervous system is evaluating whether it's safe. In scientific terms, it's called neuroception, which means your perception of your nervous system to the situation that you're in. So where you could be going to a yoga studio that you love the teacher, you love the aesthetics, the feel of the space. Now that other beings are in it, your nervous system is perceiving something. And it's unconscious. You have no idea that this is happening until you start having what I will call a symptomatic response to the environment that you're in. So what you believe feels very safe, your nervous system may interpret that as, no, I can't rest in this. So during the Yoga Nidra class, you're having a hard time what we call dropping in or slowly descending down beneath the doing mind into the feeling body. And that ability to slowly start dropping down and in is hitting this nervous system response that says it's not safe to do that. Right? So the ability to experience internal safety is directly related to our capacity for rest. This is why we have to practice it. So just like you have to train your body for a marathon, you have to train your body for rest. And this may be a novel idea for some of you watching, is this idea that we have to actually go through training to learn how to rest again. We have to put ourselves through practice to learn how to be who we were always designed to be, the essence of being that we are. And there's a lot of different practices now that are coming into our world, thankfully, from more Eastern philosophical teachings that allow us to reconnect to that state of rest, right? Whether it's breath work, whether it's mindfulness techniques, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's reading of sacred scripture, there's all these different ways to start teaching ourselves how to rest again. I am going to guide you guys in a little bit through a short experience that involves your breath and body to simply start to slow your nervous system down, to come back into a state of harmony and balance, and to feel, maybe just for a minute, maybe longer, this essence of rest that you are, the state of being that you are. Okay, so Lizzie K is saying, everybody in my house, including my dogs, would get really uncomfortable. And I'm not sure what that comment was in reflection of. So I appreciate you engaging. If you could give me some clarity on which piece we were talking about there as it popped in. So those that are with me here, how have you experienced this awareness of, I thought I was going to be able to rest and I wasn't able to? This shows up for a lot of people at night when they're starting to fall asleep and they're tired and their body's exhausted. But the moment their body starts to drop in, their mind pops up. Okay? And the mind starts spinning. Right? All these thoughts, this mental to-do list, like awakening in the middle of the night, like, oh, I forgot to send that email. Right? That the ability to deeply rest and to get into that natural circadian rhythm that our nervous system intuitively relates to is severed by our doing mind, right? Our thinking mind, our doing essence, okay? Lizzie K, I was such a doer, couldn't stay still ever. At acupuncture massage, I cannot fully rest. So when this occurs, you guys, thank you for sharing all that, is we have to practice it in what I call like small doses, in titration, meaning a little bit at a time as we increase our capacity for rest. So in trauma work, it shows up as giving clients, giving students, practitioners, tiny amounts, like a couple minutes here and there of practicing slowing down and then noticing their edge, noticing for yourself, when I sit and I'm just breathing, I can do that for a little bit and then it gets uncomfortable. There's your edge. And the invitation would be, I give myself permission to honor this edge and perhaps increase it by 3 more breaths. And we do it in small incremental doses, so we're not scaring our own nervous system by resting. I find that people who are in a constant busy state, the act of slowing down and getting still is scary. And that becomes its own process of helping someone understand that it's safe to rest, that they have permission to rest. They can slow down, and it comes in time. So again, I'm not saying this is easy by any means, because it goes against what we've trained ourselves to do. But in order for us to live well, we have to make this internal shift into being. So for those that are with me right now, so long as you're not listening while you're driving or in some sort of state where closing your eyes would not be okay for you, I'm going to invite that you join me in a little bit of an experience. So wherever you are, whether you're sitting at your desk, whether you're sitting on a couch, or you can lay down if you'd like, we're going to take about 8 to 10 minutes to experience a slowing down and dropping into a state of being. So if you're willing, I invite you, wherever you are, put things down if you have anything in your hand, and allow yourself to get comfortable. And by that, your feet can be on the ground. You can find a comfortable space to lay down. And if it feels okay for you to close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes. And if closing your eyes is not right for you at this time, maybe just take a hazy gaze, like a downwards, soft gaze. And we're going to take 3 intentional deep breaths together. So as you inhale, fill your body like you're filling up a bottle of water from bottom to top. Inhale in. And then inhale in a little bit more. And then exhale with an audible sigh. And exhale a little more. And doing that again. Inhale in full. Fill up even more. And then exhale with a sigh. And again. And now one more time. Inhale in full. Fill all the way up. Even more. And then exhale completely. Letting go even more. And now bringing your hands over the belly. And with the eyes closed, beginning to tune in to the natural rhythm of your breath. And simply noticing the belly expanding and rising as you inhale. And the belly relaxing and contracting as you exhale. And just this. Breath moving in. And breath moving out. The subtleties of sensation in the body coming and going. Belly rising as you inhale. Belly falling as you exhale. Already beginning to make this internal shift from thinking and doing into feeling and being. Every exhalation is dropping you further away from the thinking mind. Feeling tension and holding, leaving the body now. Noticing the breath becoming slower, quieter, almost non-existent. It's safe to rest. beginning to drop into the being that you are. If at any time you find yourself getting stuck in the mind, simply come back into awareness of breath. Breath moving in, breath moving out. Now releasing any remaining control on the breath in any way. Letting go of the need to make anything happen. Resting in silent awareness into the being that you are. Now following my guidance as I take you through the body. Just allowing your internal awareness to rest on the part of the body as I name it. Bringing your awareness to all 10 toes. Both feet. Both ankles. Both knees. Both hips. Lower abdomen. Upper abdomen. Chest. Upper arms. Lower arms. Both hands. All 10 fingers. Wrists. Elbows. Tops of the shoulders. Pit of the throat. Face. Top of the head. Back of the head. Neck. Shoulder blades. Upper back. Lower back. Buttocks. Calves. Heels. Soles of the feet. awareness of the whole body at the same time, from the top of the head to the tips of the toes. Whole body resting in awareness. Experiencing this beautiful being that you are. Resting here. Giving yourself permission for deep rest. To reconnect to the source that you are deep inside. And allowing this experience to stay with you, begin once again to notice the rise and fall of the abdomen as you breathe. Perhaps noticing an internal sense of ease, a softening. Noticing that things have slowed down inside. And allowing some gentle movement to return into the body from this place of rest. Experiencing the sensations of moving your toes and moving your hands. If you're laying down or even if you're seated, maybe reaching the arms overhead for a nice stretch. And as and when you feel ready, if you're still with me here, just bringing yourself back very gently. And noticing that shift. A little over 8 minutes. Not a lot of time. And what happened inside you? And if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear if you went through that experience with me. What happened? What did you notice when you started to slow down? In my experiences over the many years of doing this type of work, I often relate it to like a guitar string that's constantly vibrating, and then it begins to slow down. And even those tiny little rhythms that are pulsing start to get really quiet and eventually completely still. Okay? And another visual that I often will use is like a snow globe that's been shaken, right? And there's all this snow all over. And then when we finally hold that snow globe still, the snow starts to fall and settle down. So it's as if our nervous system is vibrating and it just starts to get really calm and clear and quiet. So Dawn is saying there was peace. Oh, like who doesn't want more peacefulness in their life? And Christy's saying her to-do list disappeared and she felt connected to her body. Yeah, so often when we're in that doing state, we're disconnected from the feeling being, from our essence of our physical body, and we're stuck in those to-do lists of the mind. And those to-do lists can be very important, but if we don't take the time to really slow down and be, then the to-do list becomes very stressful. And oftentimes there's things on our to-do list that are exciting, and we want to have the energy to meet that excitement. But if we're exhausted all the time, then anything becomes stressful. So starting to practice being is my invitation for you throughout this week. Is downloading, if you need to, like a Yoga Nidra app. My teacher, Kamini Desai, has an excellent one. There are some on my website that you can download for a small fee. There's an Insight Timer app. There's the Calm Timer app. There's thousands of Yoga Nidras on YouTube. There's so many variations of practices available to learn how to rest again. And setting those alarms throughout your day. Maybe before you go back to doing what you were doing, take time and set at least 3 of them. And maybe stagger them to be 3 hours apart, so you're covering a 9-hour time frame of your day, and labeling those alarms with your name and then with whatever it is that you're going to do. I'm going to take 10 intentional breaths. I'm going to go outside for 5 minutes. I'm going to sit on the couch or on a chair, and I'm just going to breathe. I'm going to set 5 minutes and I'm going to breathe. Whatever it may be. If you have time in your day for Yoga Nidra, I can't recommend that enough. So these little practices to train yourself for rest so that you can feel restored, you can feel healthy, you can experience the essence of wholeness that you are. Right, you guys, I'm so appreciative of you being here with me, of you taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about the essence of rest and to give yourself that little experience that you went through of 8 minutes of bringing yourself back into a state of harmony and being. So grateful for all of you. If you haven't already, I invite you to please register on my website for my newsletter, kateship.com. I am creating some other types of offerings in this way. There's been a pulling to get back into leading more Yoga Nidra and more practices of intentional rest. So you guys are going to be hearing more about that if you're on my newsletter as well. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And go out there and enjoy your life from a state of being. Wishing you all a blessed day. Take care.